Tonight's big stories. We're down to our last 3 days before the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections, where more than 672,000 positions are up for grabs. We'll bring you updates from some of the election hotspots nationwide.
The search continues for Filipinos missing in Israel, including 2 that may have been abducted and kept as hostages. The Israeli ambassador to the Philippines says it's Hamas that's exacerbating the situation in Gaza.
And has it been more difficult to book Grab food riders in your area? Well, they might be among the hundreds going on strike to protest the company's plans to lower fees.
Welcome to the show. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Gretchen Ho.
And I'm Danny Laurel.
The long weekend is finally here, at least for everyone else except for us, because we're still working next week. But of course, it's not all about R&R. This coming Monday, it's the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections, where 672,016 positions are up for grabs nationwide.
So for this weekend, we have some reminders for everyone, whether or not you're planning to vote. The last day of campaigning for the Barangay and Sque elections is tomorrow, October 28. So candidates should wrap things up 12 midnight of October 29. Aside from campaigning, candidates are also barred from giving free transportation, food, drinks, and things of value on Sunday and during the election day itself.
Now, a liquor ban is also in effect that's starting October 29th until Election Day, October 30th. And under Resolution number 10905 of the COMELEC, drinking, selling, and distributing alcoholic beverages in public areas are prohibited. Now, only foreign tourists in authorized hotels or establishments are exempted from this prohibition. The city of Manila has even extended the liquor ban to all the way to November 2. That's All Souls Day. Bawal din ang sugal or any form of sport related to gambling.
Now, tighter security is in effect over in Bukay, Abra, where 8 barangays are under orange category, indicating the presence of armed groups. Elaine Fulgencio joins us live from Abra to give us the latest on the ground. Elaine. Hi, Elaine. Have additional PNP personnel arrived there, and how many have been deployed as far as we know? I think we lost Elaine there, so we're going to try to call her back and circle back to this story a little bit later on.
Some numbers for the Barangay and Sque elections. It's been 5 years, ladies, that we had our last Barangay and Sque elections. 30 million registered to vote. As you mentioned, 672,000 seats up for grabs.
It's a staggering number, though. 672,000 positions.
1.41 million people filed candidacies.
1.41 million?
Yes.
1 million.
Tapos 42,000 barangays in the Philippines. So, yun yung ano.
Tapos meron pa SK.
Why, right?
Oo,
Would you want to
meron pang
Kagawad, SK
yes,
chairperson,
SK
secretary, treasurer,
exactly.
at syempre yung barangay chairperson or punong barangay na tinatawag natin, or captain as we know it in common terms.
And we have still that issue on Abra, no, that you just reported on. The teachers are backing out, also in Cotabato City. So there is, of course, issues with the killing of a candidate there. That was on Monday. So teachers are backing out. We had that news yesterday.
I think one of the reasons why some are backing out at the elections in Abra because they're related to somebody in position. So alam natin yan, in the SK Reform Act of 2015, there was a law that was passed saying that those who run must not be related according to the second civil degree of consanguinity or affinity. Yes.
Okay.
Meaning bawal yung parents, siblings, grandparents, spouse, and the parents of the siblings. So 2 degrees yun.
I wonder how closely followed that is.
Kaya nga. Kasi,
We
pero
need
kasi
volunteers
nangyayari,
also, yeah.
meron mga SK,
Oo.
mga barangay, magkakamag-anak sila, di
Yeah.
ba? But
Oo.
ever since this law was passed,
How interesting.
nangyayari, parang mayroon mga seats that are not filled up.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
that also gives opportunity for those outside,
Right.
those
come in.
Come
families in power to
Yeah.
come in and to
Right.
balance it off. The question is, bakit hindi ito ina-apply in higher levels of government, like to prevent political dynasties?
Exactly. Well, that's still being debated in Congress. But in the
counting.
meantime, we are going to try to get back out to Elaine Fulgencio, who's joining us live, as I said, from Bukay, Abra, to give us the latest on the ground. Hi, Elaine. I'm going to get right into it. Have additional PNP personnel arrived there? It's under orange category right now, right? So how many do we know have been deployed, and what additional security measures are in place there?
The Abra Police Provincial Office heightened security measures, especially in the municipality of Bukay. Today, additional PNP personnel arrived in Bukay to ensure the safety of the residents, voters, the electoral board members, and of course the candidates for the upcoming Barangay and Sangguniang elections.
The lights.
Elaine, how are the residents? What are they saying about these increased tensions in their areas?
Earlier today, we visited some of the residents in Bukay and we talked to them, and according to some of the residents, they said that the tension for this year's election is much higher compared to the previous elections. But we also talked to some residents and they said that they feel much safe now that there are a lot of PNP and army roaming, patrolling around there day and night.
Elaine, we also had reports yesterday of teachers backing out of volunteering for the polls. Have you spoken to some of these teachers, and what is the reason for this?
Actually, this morning we talked to one of the parents of the teachers who are really serving for the Barangay and Sangguniang elections, and the mother said that her daughter, the teacher there, really doesn't want to serve during elections, and ang sinabi lang niya talaga is ayaw niya talaga. Yun lang yung reason kung bakit talagang never daw nag-serve yung kanyang anak during elections. And maybe it's personal reasons, but some of the residents there saying na the tensions are a bit high compared to the previous elections.
Has anybody told you of any count of threats?
So far, some of the residents that we've talked earlier haven't mentioned about threats or intimidations about the goons or candidates roaming there. But according to the PNP and the COMELEC here in Abra, they're still validating about the reports of alleged presence of private armed groups or roaming around in the province of Abra.
Okay, thank you so much for that update, Elaine Fulgencio, live for us from Abra.
3 days before the BSKE, and more teachers are backing out of serving as election watchers, not just in Abra, but in Cotabato City. This is still due to the recent killing of a candidate there on Monday. Teachers say they fear for their lives.
Takot po kami sa mga tao na manggulo or kung sino man yung pupunta dito at mag-ano ng kaguluhan. Ang hindi namin alam kung ano ang magiging eventualities na mangyayari before, during, and after the election.
Gusto namin sana kung kami yung teacher, kami yung magsiserve as electoral board. Saan ka natuturo, doon ka rin ma-assign. Ang problema kasi sir, napupunta ako sa ibang barangay, so ibang school na hindi safe para sa akin.
In fact, before the shooting incident on Monday, more than 200 teachers already backed out of serving as watchers in Cotabato City. The COMELEC says it has a backup plan.
Pag po wala na po yung teachers, pwede na yung mga public school teachers, pwede po kaming maglagay ng electoral boards like yung mga private school teachers, yung mga from national government agencies, pwede po namin yan i-fill up doon po sa kulang.
Currently, there are 800 police officers being deployed to the Bangsamoro region from Metro Manila, Northern Mindanao, Davao region, and Soxcargen. About 300 of them will go straight to Cotabato City. But even the police officers admit that this is a significant challenge for them. At the moment, out of over 2,000 barangays in BARMM, almost 1,000 can be considered areas of concern. Nearly 300 of them are in the red category, requiring close attention in terms of security.
Up next, are you among those still asking if you should bother voting in the Barangay and Sanggunyiang elections? Well, we'll speak to political analyst Edmund Dayao about how important these positions are when we return. Welcome back. You're still watching The Big Story here on One News.
Why are we covering the BSKE so much? Well, short answer is the significance of barangays cannot be understated. Here's a quick background on it. The barangay is the smallest political and administrative unit in the country, and there are over 42,000 barangays in the Philippines as of 2023. The Local Government Code of 1991 placed the Punong Barangay as the chief executive of the smallest political unit. The Punong Barangay is therefore imbued with the powers of the executive, legislative, and judiciary. He or she enforces all laws and ordinances that are applicable within the barangay. The powers and functions of the barangay, down to its officials, have evolved considerably. Barangay officials of today are imbued with political power unparalleled in history. Well, here to help us understand further the significance of the BSKE, we have with us live via Zoom political analyst Professor Edmund Dayao. Professor Dayao, good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Talk us through the importance of the Barangay and SK elections. I don't know if you just heard my report before we got to you. The last line of my report read the barangay's chairman's position is unparalleled in history. Would you agree?
Well, unparalleled, not necessarily in history, because the basis of which actually is pre-colonial Philippines. Now, the basic unit, of course, is the community. You know, before the colonizers came, we were ruled by principalities similar to the city-states of Greece before, and even other countries, no? And hence became the basis of the creation of village governments. Of course, other countries also have their own version of village governments, but ours really is something that is based on, no, how it was supposedly, no, how it was before the colonizers came. It's unparalleled compared to the other political levels of government, other levels of government, because it is the only level of government where the executive actually exercises not only executive function, but also chairs the community legislature, no, the Sangguniang Barangay, no, and even no the was this the katarungang pambarangay.
Okay, ever since the local government code was implemented and there was devolution, what can you say changed when it comes to the power structure?
Well, actually, it more of formalized, no, the role of local governments, because the barangay, as I've mentioned, has always been there. In fact, it was recognized even during the time of the Spanish occupation and even the American occupation. For obvious reasons, of course, that was something that was familiar with the communities at that time. When the local government code was enacted, it formalized. No, it's rather the right term is institutionalized. No, the powers that were supposedly exercised only by the upper levels of government. No? But I have to say, of course, that while we look at the barangay really in some ideal form, it's not really how it is. Exercise it's not how we see it no in actual operation at the community level.
Can you give us an idea, sir, of the governance level at the barangay level in terms of is there much more corruption at the barangay level compared to LGU level? Give us an idea of how these things are managed, these things are controlled.
Alam mo, mahirap magsabi kung saan mas may corruption. To
Talaga ba?
be honest with you, every level of government has some kind of corruption. Precisely because, as I've said, that's why I was trying to correct the impression that the barangay is the quote unquote the ideal. What's this level? No, it's the frontliner and so on. And so many are inclined to think it's best to give all the powers to the barangay and allow them really to do more functions. Pero alam mo ang problema kasi at the community level in terms of you use the term governance, for example, when you use the term governance it becomes kind of technical that I'm not sure how much of our almost 5,000 barangays all over the country really are prepared to do more technical functions, including, for example, planning. Iba-iba din yung level of capacity nila. No, to be honest, there are barangays where many of those running for office are running for office mainly because, well, they're always in their households. They don't have a day job and hence are able to give more time to the barangay. Medyo kailangan din nating ayusin yung what's this the qualifications before if you're a barangay official you can you will be able to remain to practice your profession. Pwede pa din naman ngayon but if you are in government say for example if you're a regularly employed government employee in the municipal city or even at the national level, hindi ka na pwedeng i-elect sa barangay. But medyo may disconnect kasi we require our barangay leaders to be technically able but somehow we're limiting also the people who can be qualified to run for office. So ang nangyayari kung sino na lang yung naiwan na pwedeng tumakbo for barangay positions, yun ang madalas na nangyayari. Again, I'm not saying all of in all cases are the same, but in most cases that's what happens, particularly in highly urbanized areas.
Just to maybe a better question, has the corruption at barangay level improved in recent years? Has it been? Give us an idea of that.
I don't know what you mean by improve, no?
Okay.
You might probably
eradicated
mean
more?
escalated or what, no? But I'm not sure of a study, that has been done on the level of corruption at the barangay level. But of course, I have my own biases as a social scientist. Academics always have their biases in terms of what they think would be more important to investigate. Ako kasi systemic ang tingin ko eh. Because of the kind of system that we have, very personalistic politics, yun ang direct relation to corruption. That's also the direct it's the direct relation to corruption because it's the direct relation to accountability. Wala tayong political party that funds the the campaigns of candidates, and so because it's out of pocket money that they use for campaigns, ang tendency pag nakaupo na babawiin mo yan ngayon, no? So until such time that we're able to change that, medyo we'll see the vicious circle. I'm sure, of course, some of those listening would say, Prof, mali ka naman kasi sa barangay wala namang political party. Again, we go back to the idea that the barangay is supposedly ideal, that it's supposed to be, I don't know even how they came up with the idea of being apolitical. But we know for a fact, of course, that the barangay elections is the prelude, no, to higher level of elections. In fact, the reason why it has become more and more contested, no, by different political groups is precisely because the barangay leaders become mainly the agents of the higher level political leaders. So very crucial sa kanila yung barangay elections. It's also a preparation for the next elections, next round of elections.
Oo nga eh, we were just saying 1.4 million candidates this time around.
Oo.
Hindi kasi we have almost 5,000 barangays.
Yes. But actually I wanted to
5,000, almost 50,000. I stand corrected, sorry.
But also, I wanted to show you graphics that our producers made about, how much a barangay chairman earns.
Iba-iba din
Iba-iba,
actually, kasi,
but actually,
kasi,
it's about 25,000 a month, 32,000 a month. So it's not a lot. So it comes back to your answer before, which is I was going to ask, what's in it for them? And what you're saying essentially is, it's not the money, it's the power. It's the prelude to the midterm and presidential elections.
Yeah, during local elections, no, when we have candidates for mayor, congressmen, and so on, if you are going to ask me, I would rather that barangay elections are held synchronized, no, with all the elections, no, from the barangay level to mayor to members of Congress, Senate, and President, no. Mas maganda synchronized talaga. But if you notice, laging nahihiwala yung barangay. In fact, madalas na postpone pa yan. So ang nangyayari, if you're a sitting mayor, you would really want as much as possible to have all your lieutenants at the barangay level to win. Kasi pagdating ng eleksyon, kailangan mo sila eh, no? And of course, those running for barangay positions also need, no, their patron, no, their mayor, and so hence it's a mutual relationship, so to speak. So yung sinasabi ng ating election law na non-partisan yan, that there's no such thing eh, election nga eh. Kaya hindi ko mag-gets yung point why we came up with that idea. So what's in it for them? I'm inclined to think with the experience going around in the rural areas, may mga makikita ka talaga, no? Mas marami. I'm not saying wala sa urban centers, wala sa highly urbanized centers, but at least hindi ko naman sinasabi na ikot ko lahat yung 50,000 barangays na yan, but what I notice is the more rural the area is, the more effective and the more significant the role of the barangay is compared to the highly urbanized areas. So doon may makikita ka talaga na mga talagang hindi lang qualified kung hindi dedicated barangay officials.
Okay. 5 taon po tayo hindi nagkaroon ng eleksyon. And then we have 30 million voters registered for this. Again, we mentioned 1.4 million filed their candidacies, 672 seats up for grabs. Anything that you see in the numbers? Ano kaya naging epekto nung 5 taong paghihintay, and what should we probably expect on how the results will impact, I guess, 2025?
At the local level, you can already extrapolate the result of the elections in the municipal city level. You can already extrapolate that this, as I've mentioned, a prelude to the midterm election. So the incumbent mayor, if he's able to get his barangay lieutenants elected to office, medyo may comfort level na siya, no? Pero kung ang nanalo sa barangay level mas marami doon sa kalaban, doon mo naman masasabi na medyo magiging mahigpit yung laban, no, at the mayoral level come midterm elections. In terms of number of candidates, I'm inclined to think it's almost the same. Because again, we have the same number of barangays after all. But apart from that, also, it's not like you have much choices, no, in terms of those wanting to run for office at the barangay level. Because as I've said, more often than not, it's really those who's simply wanting to find some position, and I'm not sure how many really are just really wanting to serve, so to speak, precisely because the amount of the salary really is not enough, to say the least. Last, about the 5-year impact, I posted in my social media account that huwag kayo masyado gumastos kasi there will be another barangay elections come 2025. At least, if I'm not mistaken, that's the decision of the Supreme Court. No? So, kung dati 5 years kasi na-extend, ngayon naman maikli lang, no? It's 2 years, and another round of barangay elections is going to happen. Siyempre,
We're gonna have to wait
those
for
who have been in office for 5 years, we can say that they have the advantage, especially if they are running for re-election. Kasi matagal silang nakapwesto.
Yeah. Oo nga. So each election cycle is just as important as the other. Okay, we're gonna have to leave that there. Thank you so much for joining us. That was Political Analyst Professor Edmond Tayo.
Salamat po. Magandang gabi.
Still on the importance of barangays and local governments in general, President Marcos personally acknowledged that in an event today. The president spoke at the first ever Mayor's Forum organized by the DILG and the United Nations. There, he urged Philippine mayors to reach out and learn from their counterparts abroad. President Marcos cited the impact of the Local Government Code and the Mandanas ruling in developing LGUs. However, he said local leaders must prepare for new challenges ahead.
We are now in the 21st century. There are new challenges in both the local and national levels, issues that were not conceived of by the code's framers 30 years ago, that require us now to discover, to explore, to employ better ways of capacitating our localities.
Ika nga ni Mayor Magalong, last night, no, about the anti-corruption initiative. So now he's mentioning that they're gaining traction. There's 10% of all the mayors.
But yun nga, 10% pa lang, right? Out of
Well, they just started.
1,600 mayors nationwide, only about 158 have signed on to the anti-corruption movement, right? Which is
And the reason why some of the
difficult
most of the
to give up
mayors-
perks, apparently.
And let's hear it from him.
We can only briefly describe it as acronym ng MAP. You know? MAP means masarap ang pera. Alam mo, sometimes we have very idealistic political leaders when they start, assuming their possessions. They have all this idealism. Pero pag natekman na nila yung mga special perks and privileges, especially the money that goes with it,
So there's a saying, anyone that can touch power will use it.
Meron
Also
siyang
money eh.
Meron din siyang
acronym
saying.
yung MAP, masarap
Oo,
ang pera.
ito nga
Yeah,
daw.
yun nga. MAP. And then he
Just
also...
a little taste of it.
Oh, he also said like once they get in position, parang the bar keeps getting higher, right? It's
And he
never
said
enough.
these are
It's never
quote-unquote decent people at the beginning, and then
I'm excited to see what he will do with that movement. I mean,
definitely.
he was very careful yesterday about dropping names or pointing to specific instances, and I can understand. The fight against corruption is a difficult one. I mean,
It's very
bumangga sa
tricky.
pader. But I'm excited to see how that movement will evolve.
And then signing your name to that puts you on the spotlight.
Yes.
You signed your name
Yes.
to that.
They are,
They
it's
really
good to
can't
mention,
do
they're also
anything.
working
That's
with
actually
civil
interesting.
society, different organizations, different sectors on the fight against corruption.
All right, well, pausing for a quick break right after that. Are you guys having a hard time booking through Grab Food? It might have something to do with plans to cut base fares for that service. The details when we return. Keep it here on One News.
You're still watching Big Story here in One News.
Attempting to order food via Grab Food to no avail? Well, you're not the only one. Many social media users are questioning the absence of Grab Food delivery riders in their locality, even after making multiple attempts to request their services. The reason? Food delivery riders in parts of Metro Manila have joined rallies to protest the lower fees Grab reportedly plans to implement to weather the post-pandemic changes. Under Grab's new fare matrix, the minimum base fare has been reduced from 45 pesos to 35 pesos, and the additional charge per kilometer has been lowered from 10 pesos to 7 pesos. In a statement, Senator Risa Hontiveros says he stands in solidarity with Grab riders and all riders on various platforms in their fight for a more just fare matrix. Hontiveros added that these platform companies that engage in abusive practices have a lot of explaining to do. Hontiveros also pointed out that if the objective of the new fare matrix is to lighten the financial load for Grab's customers, it should not be achieved at the cost of the platform's riders. To clarify this issue, we'll be speaking with John J. Chan, the spokesperson organizer for NCR of the National Union of Food Delivery Riders Centro. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
So, magandang gabi po sa ating mga tagapakinig.
Okay, kwento niyo naman po kami tungkol dito sa pinoprotesta po ninyo. Isang araw lang po ba nangyari yan? At gaano kalaking epekto sa kinikita ng mga riders natin?
Una pong nagkaroon tayo ng pagkilos noong 19. So nagkaroon po tayo ng demonstration sa Tomas Morato Circle na kung saan ipinanawagan po natin mga delivery riders na wag muna i-implement yung bagong fare matrix na kung saan binabaan ng malala yung ating kita ng ating mga delivery riders. Sumunod nito ay yung ginawa natin noong 25 sa Quezon City Memorial Circle na kung saan ipinoint out natin dito na hindi na to simpleng issue lang ng fare matrix o iba pang mga bagay, kundi ito ay malinaw na hindi nare-respeto yung ating mga manggagawa at hindi na ibibigay yung tamang benepisyo para sa kanila.
John, ilan yung sumali sa protest, sa strike?
Sa protest ay sa assembly na ginawa po natin sa Quezon City Memorial Circle ay around 200 riders. Then nagkaroon po tayo ng unity ride outside Quezon City Memorial Circle. Pero doon po sa mga nag-participate na nag-off ng apps during that day, ay we could say na umabot ito nationwide.
Oh, sorry, umabot ng?
Nationwide.
Nationwide. So until now, itong mga kasamahan mo na nag-off na apps, they're still off the apps or bumalik na sila?
At the present time, mga kasama po natin mga riders ay online na po and bumabiyahe na po since hindi po nila afford na magpatuloy na hindi bumiyahe. So nag-participate lang po sila sa isang araw na ito para sa panawagan na dapat wag munang ipababain o wag na ipatupad yung unfair na fare matrix na sinasabi namin.
John, we're getting reports that some of the riders may have been suspended or may naapektuhan yung kanilang status. Would you clarify that?
Yes, in fact, noong October 19, 6 po sa mga nag-participate nung aming demonstration ay itinatawag at sinuspend ni Grab. At noong 25, isa rin to sa naging action point natin at nag-file po tayo ng kaso sa Sena para sa illegal suspension. Ang ginawa naman po ng Grab, tinanggal yung suspension pero ginawa po nilang post. So technically, it is a form of constructive dismissal. So hanggang ngayon po ay inoobserbahan po natin yung mga ibang kasama natin 25 kung meron pa pong isususpend. So ito yung napaka-saklap din po na karanasan na yung mga nagpa-participate sa mga ganitong movement ay somehow binigipit ng Grab.
Ilan po na bilang po ninyo na sinuspend yung account? O kaya ito nga po yung constructive dismissal na sinasabi po ninyo?
As of this moment, meron po tayong mga kasama na siyam, 9 ang nasuspend. Meron na tayong 6 na na-file.
Nakausap niyo na po ba yung management ng Grab directly? And ano po, if ever, ano po yung napag-usapan ninyo?
Yes, in fact, nakikipag-usap yung Grab in terms of forum, face-to-face forum, kung saan nakikipag-usap sila sa mga rider. However, nag-object po kami dito sa panibagong fare matrix. And also, we pointed out yung mga naging problema o magiging problema ng fare matrix na to. Pero at the end of the day, naging mapilit pa rin ang Grab at sinasabi nga nila na nagkakaroon daw ng kompetisyon. Kaya ito yung nag-raise ng question sa atin, no? Na bakit kung may kompetisyon, bakit mga rider ang ating gigipitin? Keep in mind na nagkaroon man sila ng fare structure, same pa rin naman yung sinisingil nila sa mga customer. In fact, yung priority delivery ay yung 40 pesos ay 100% na sa kanila lang po napupunta at hindi naman po sa riders.
Wait, you're saying na kahit ibaba yung base fare, the consumers, kami, we won't feel it? We won't feel the effects?
Yes, hindi din po siya nakaka-apekto dahil yung fare matrix, it pertains dun sa earning ng rider and the delivery fee pertains to the actual cost na binabayaran ng customer.
Talaga?
Sa current system po ng Grab, may magkahiwalay po na pagkwenta ang fare matrix at delivery fee. So kapag nagkakaroon po ng surge rate, makikita niyo po yan na during peak hours tumataas po ang singil nila, yung discrepancy or yung difference between the delivery fee and the fare matrix, 100% goes to Grab.
Talaga ba? Akala ko bababa rin yung delivery fee para sa consumers.
That's what I was thinking.
Parang katulad po ng Food Panda, di ba? Yan yung ginagawa nila. That mas mababa yung delivery fee. Pero I guess mas mahal, napupunta nga either sa restaurant or nababawi na mas cheaper para sa consumer. Are you saying hindi mangyayari yan? So pareho pa rin yung presyo for us?
Yes, malinaw yan na hindi mangyayari dahil i-add ko lang doon, no? Bukod sa binuburden ng consumer yung delivery fee ng mga riders, consumer din ang huling nagbe-burden ng commission na kinakat ng Grab sa mga deliveries. Kaya kung mapapansin natin, mas mahal ang price ng mga food na makikita natin sa menu dahil nagre-range ng 15 to 30% ang kinokomisyon ng Grab sa mga merchant. So wala pong choice din yung ating mga merchant na ibaba yung presyo nila dahil nga may mga merchant na mataas ang komisyon ng Grab.
John, ano yung impact on your daily income? Give us a sense of that. If I could just flash the base fare chart again to show the viewers kung ano yung difference now. We know that the base fares are going down, pero yung impact on you as a rider on a daily basis, how much less are you gonna make?
Para sa mas madaling context, no, meron tayong tatlong figure. Yung pre-pandemic fare earnings, then yung pandemic fare matrix, at ito pong bagong fare matrix. So, para sa mas madaling explanation nun, kung i-compare natin yung bagong fare matrix doon sa may pre-pandemic na fare, it's less than for about 50% ng earnings ng riders. Now, dito po sa figure nila, ang dinedefend po ng Grab ay nag-add sila ng additional payment para sa pick-up at sa waiting time. However, yung in-add po nila ay technically ibinawas din nila sa mga ibang metro. Ang observation namin dito sa mga naging biyahe ng ating mga riders ay ngayon hindi na magkakaroon ng pagkakataon ng ating mga rider na i-breakdown kung paano ba talaga kino-compute. And malinaw na ang i-decrease ng fare nila compared dun sa pre-pandemic is around 50%, although ngayong post-pandemic ay alam natin na tumaas ang demand.
Okay. Meron bang type of compensation kapag tumataas yung fuel prices? Paano po na-adjust yung compensation nyo tuwing nagkaka-fuel price hike?
Well, it varies, no, from platform to platform. In Grab, meron silang pinopromote na meron discount sa mga selected gas station. However, when it comes to the actual compensation, ito nga yung naranasan natin nung huli, nung tumaas talaga yung gas at umabot pa ng 90 pesos ang per liter. Wala tayong naging compensation para sa mga rider at wala rin naman naging adjustment sa earnings nila. So wala talagang nare-receive yung mga rider, even tumataas yung inflation rate natin sa bansa.
So ibig sabihin po yung 20% na komisyon ng Grab ay madadagdagan. Tataas po yun. Tama po ba?
Yung 20% sa rider, it has been long gone noong 2021. Nung binago nila ang fare matrix na hindi na commission-based.
Yun na yung pumalit. Okay.
Dapat diretso na sa rider. Whatever nakikita sa app, diba dapat diretso na. Right now, there's gonna be a discrepancy between delivery fee and fare matrix.
Ayun,
Yes.
Yun nga lang po, sabi po sa reports na nababasa po namin, ito po ay tugon dun sa inflation na nararamdaman po ng mga consumer. Kaya ito nga po, bababaan nila yung kita ng mga riders. At sabi rin po nila ng Grab that the new earnings model ensures fairer compensation for delivery riders. Ano pong reaction niyo po dun sa kanilang statement?
Well, sa statement nila na ito ay tutugon para maging fair ang fare matrix, malinaw sa ngayong araw na to, na nakita na ng mga riders na talagang bumaba yung kanilang fare matrix. No? So hindi siya responsive doon sa nilalabas nila sa media at hindi rin siya responsive doon sa pinopromote nila na matulungan yung consumer to address the high prices and
Ano po realistic expectation ninyo sa mangyayari? Meron ba pong mangyayari and will you continue to protest even if naapektuhan po yung daily income?
Yes, yung mga movement na kagaya ng ginawa ng 25 ay hindi ito yung ina-expect natin ng last. No? Ang objective natin dito ay yung mga ganitong klase ng pagkilos and organizing ay magpapatuloy as long as na yung mga ating mga riders ay patuloy din naman na napapabayaan. So ngayon ay hindi lang naman protest ang mode of action, no? Na meron din tayong pinupush ngayon na legislative agenda, both Senate and the House of Representatives para makapagsulong ng batas. Ayun nga isa dyan yung example na binigay ni Senator Dizon Rivero, yung Power Act na kung saan naglalayon na mabigyan ng talagang malinaw na proteksyon ng ating mga freelancer. Because nakakalungkot talaga sa panahon ngayon na itong mga platform apps ginagamit yung dahilan na ang mga workers nila ay mga freelancer to avoid giving them decent wages or decent earnings. So yun yung kailangan natin na magkaroon talaga tayo ng maayos na batas na magiging proteksyon ng ating mga magagawang riders.
All right. We pray and hope that the things get settled. We will try to get a hold of representatives from Grab para makaklaro po natin yung tunay na lagay at bakit nga po may pagbabago sa fare matrix. Meanwhile, maraming salamat po, John J. Chan, the spokesperson organizer for NCR of the National Union of Food Delivery Riders Centro.
Pausing for another break. Right after that, Metro Manila dwellers have started heading out to the provinces for the long weekend. How are bus terminals, air and seaports doing, and traffic tonight? We'll take a look right after the break. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back. You're still watching Big Story here on One News.
Na-traffic kayo today, di ba?
Yes!
Yes!
Tatlong oras.
Well, I decided to stay in the neighborhood of TV5, and that was a good choice. Some of the reasons, it is payday Friday today.
Also, you could have told me that sooner. But
Plus, the exodus for the long weekend has also begun. Passengers are flocking bus terminals, ports, and airports as we speak to get to their hometowns ahead of back-to-back holidays next week. At the Paranaque Integrated Terminal Exchange for PTEX, almost 200,000 passengers are expected to be recorded today. Many of the trips at the terminal are already fully booked. PTEX management expects daily passenger count to hit 150 to 170,000 starting today until November 6. This is higher than the daily average of 110,000 on regular days. Starting today to November 6, foot traffic at PTEX is expected to reach 1.6 million. Earlier today, Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista led inspection of the terminal.
Mas marami tayong aasahan ngayon, no? Lalo na we are recovering from the pandemic, no? And lalo na kung merong mga magagandang pasilidad, no? Ay nainganyo yung ating mga kababayan na magbiyahe.
All terminals at the NAIA are also packed with passengers leaving for their hometowns for the long weekend. The Manila International Airport Authority says passenger count is expected to hit 130,000 today, but this figure should climb in the coming days. Still, airport authorities are ensuring the smooth flow of passengers from check-in counters to the boarding gates, especially at Terminal 2, where most flights are domestic. But at Terminal 1, which handles international flights, lines for the final security check could take almost an hour. Transportation Chief Bautista, who also inspected NAIA today, called for additional personnel from the Office of Transportation Security to speed up inspections. Airline companies have also added more flights today to accommodate more passengers. They are advising domestic passengers to arrive at the terminal at least 2 to 3 hours before their flights and 3 to 4 hours for those with international flights. There are also many passengers traveling by sea. Some of them lined up at the Manila North Port today, but the Coast Guard says the number of passengers is noticeably lower this year compared to last year. The PCG explains that many travelers are opting to stay in Manila to vote first before heading back to their provinces. Still, officials are ensuring tight security at the ports and that all boats are seaworthy.
Mayroong mga deficiencies na kailangan nilang i-correct, so hindi pa sila pwedeng maglayag. So ang term na ginagamit namin is detained. Actually, makakalayag din sila pagkatapos nilang ma-correct yung mga deficiencies nila.
Well, as we ourselves have experienced tonight, there's been heavy traffic along EDSA ahead of this long weekend. Let's get the latest on the situation on the ground. We have with us Faith Del Mundo, who's reporting live from Quezon City. Faith, what's the situation looking like over there?
Yes, Reg, for those motorists who will travel or pass through the Metro Manila major thoroughfare, especially here in EDSA, heads up and expect heavy traffic in some parts of EDSA. Around 5 p.m. today, while heading northbound from EDSA Estrella to EDSA Nepa Qmart, traffic was slow-moving. It took us more than an hour to arrive here at EDSA Nepa Qmart. Since yesterday, October 26 until November 6, provincial buses will be allowed to pass through EDSA from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. as more people are expected to travel out of town for undas. Meanwhile, to ensure the safety of passengers, the MMDA inspected bus terminals in Cubao and checked if their deployed personnel are assisting travelers. MMDA will be full force and will have no absent, no day off policy starting today, October 28 and November 6. They will also deploy around 1,400 personnel to man traffic along main roads in the Metro Manila and also in cemeteries in Metro Manila. Meanwhile, the DPWH will undertake reblocking and repairs on the following roads starting 11 p.m. Saturday, October 28 until 5 a.m. of October 30. Along Mindanao Avenue Tunnel, northbound Quezon City, C5 Road, southbound in Pasig City, C5 to Korean Embassy, southbound Makati City, EDSA Taft Avenue to MRT Station Pasay City, EDSA Annapolis southbound to Connecticut, Taft Avenue corner Pedro Hill Street, Manila City, EDSA southbound after Malibay Bridge, Pasay City, A. Bonifacio Avenue northbound, corridor Sergeant Rivera Street, Quezon City, after C5 Road, southbound in Ayala Heights intersection, Quezon City. C5 southbound after Magsaysay Avenue, Quezon City. C5 Road southbound after Magsaysay Avenue, Quezon City. Commonwealth Avenue southbound, Quezon City. And C5 Road along Lanuza Avenue and Casa Verde Townhomes in Pasig City. And also in C3 Road eastbound between Rizal Avenue to MH Del Pilar Street, Caloocan City. Rizal Avenue exit northbound between Bustamante Street and Monumento Circle, Caloocan City, and EDSA northbound between Don Vicente and to General Evangelista, Caloocan City. The affected roads will be fully passable by 5 a.m. on Monday, October 30, and meanwhile, the DPWH will also conduct asphalt overlay activity on the following roads starting 11 p.m. Saturday, October 28 until 5 a.m. of October 29. These are along EDSA northbound in front of QC2DEO, DPWH Region 4B Busway, along Bus northbound in front of Centrate Busway, and along EDSA northbound in front of Landmark Busway. Reg, motorists are advised to take alternate routes to avoid inconvenience. Reg?
Okay, thank you so much for that very comprehensive update. That was Faith Del Mundo reporting to us live from EDSA.
Hindi natin nadagdag, road reblocking and repairs.
Oo nga.
Payday.
Huwag na lang lumabas.
Long weekend.
Tapos ito, road blocking.
BSKE.
BSKE pa.
Road reblocking.
Pero wait lang,
Halloween.
good news.
What?
When everybody goes out of the metro, there's no traffic for us who's working during the long week, right?
You're the eternal optimist,
Oh, yeah.
no? You really like looking at the silver lining.
Not unless you're going to visit the dead, and that is actually our big picture for tonight. So, matraffic pa rin dyan papunta sa Memorial
Oh, yes,
Park.
of
This is
course.
a common scene. It's a Pinoy tradition. Paglilinis ng mga puntod. Look at that. So, medyo natabunan nga lang this year ng BSK elections. But of course, next week is also time to visit and remember our dearly departed loved ones. So, this week, Memorial Park and Cemetery staff have been very busy cleaning for undas.
Are you going to the cemetery? Anytime
Next
this
week, yeah.
Kami Sunday eh.
On November 1.
No,
Just to
November
avoid the
1.
rush
Yeah.
hour. The rush
But I
traffic.
feel like there's gonna be a lot of people on Sunday.
Yeah, very
A lot of people-
important Pinoy tradition.
Oo, that
They
want
all
to
go
avoid the
all the
traffic
way
as
to the
well.
probinsya just for visiting the graves as well. Diba?
I hope you don't get stuck and that you make it to the show.
That's true. Well, tandaan natin, di ba, may liquor ban nga.
Oh yes,
Liquor
exactly.
ban.
Before that, may
Sunday
election
and
pa. So,
Monday, di ba?
There's a big
Maraming
day on
tao
Monday, big coverage day for us, so tune into that. We've got the Barangay and Bske elections. We're going to be starting our coverage at the early on Monday. That starts at 8 a.m. So
Meanwhile,
here in
please
One
do
News.
have a restful weekend.
if you can, and yes, try to enjoy a restful long weekend. And that is the show for tonight.
We are One News all sides all the time.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night and a good weekend.